And I think, I mean, to me, that's the key right there. I think that's where so much of our I guess holdups in the economy are right now, is that small businesses don't have the access to capital that they need anymore.
Right. I would 100% agree with that. And I think on the finance side, what you'll typically see is people will take advantage of that.
Hmm.
Small businesses in general aren't 100% familiar with the finance process, so they don't know what a fair offer for them is. It could be 50% or it could be 5% and somewhere in between. But we want to be the authority in there saying, hey, this is a fair offer for you and your business. This is the best offer that we think we can get. And we want to be that trusted advisor for the small business community and for the reason we're here, the trucking community.
Welcome to Stream, a trucktractortrailer.com production. My name is Zach Miller. I'm your host, and I'm honored today to be joined by Andrew Johnston with TrueCore Capital, LLC. Andrew, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Zach. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, absolutely. So TrueCore Capital, this is a relatively new company. You guys formed this, what, a year, 2 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, in the peak of COVID, basically in June 2020.
Unbelievable. So what was it COVID that got you thinking that that you wanted to start this, or was this in the works pre-COVID?
No, it's been in the works for quite some time. I came from a couple other places, got my feet wet at various different shops. It gave me enough time to identify that there were some things that need to be addressed in finance. Basically, ensuring that small businesses everywhere have clear, low cost of funds and access to capital. And so I said, I think I could do that. I grabbed a partner with me, and we started up shop.
I love that. And I think, I mean, to me, that's the key right there. I think that's where so much of our I guess holdups in the economy are right now, is that small businesses don't have the access to capital that they need anymore.
Right. I would 100% agree with that. And I think on the finance side, what you'll typically see is people will take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
Small businesses in general aren't 100% familiar with the finance process, so they don't know what a fair offer for them is. It could be 50% or it could be 5% and somewhere in between. But we want to be the authority in there saying, hey, this is a fair offer for you and your business. This is the best offer that we think we can get. And, we want to be that trusted advisor for the small business community and for the reason we're here, the trucking community.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Trucking and small business, it's such a fascinating symbiotic relationship. First of all, many trucking companies are in fact themselves small businesses, and then their customers are small businesses, and the issues that small businesses deal with, the trucking companies deal with, and where you guys come in, finance is huge. It's one of the biggest ones, especially in this market.
Right. And there's such a wide range, especially in the trucking community. If you're just starting out or if you have a few fleet under you, it's a different beast for the trucking community, and that's one of the arms. We said, hey, in general, small businesses fall under this tract, but there's a whole nother monster over here that's trucking and the trucking community, and we wanted to be that authority for them as well.
Yeah, and what I like about you guys too is, and it's funny because your logo is a tree, and but you guys are so good at like the branch outs. That's what I love about you guys. So small business branch, trucking branch, and then branch, sort of combining the two, is the agriculture industry.
Right. Yeah, and they're all interrelated. It doesn't make sense to approach these businesses with a cookie cutter model.
Yeah.
Because even within the industry, everybody's business is different. So you really need somebody that kind of sits there, understands it, knows what the market would produce for that, and partner with your business. That's the goal. That's the goal.
So what are you seeing out in the ag field? Or bad pun. I love making puns, and I realized I totally butchered that one. But regardless, we're gonna move on. What are you seeing in ag right now? Ag assets.
Ag is pretty good. Ag assets are definitely very good. Agriculture is typically pretty competitive on the finance side. There's government subsidized programs available for many larger farmers. That typically, to kind of marry it with trucking, that typically starts falling off as your farming business integrates more and more with that next vertical, which is becoming the transporter of your produce, of your grain, all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So we're both pretty well located in big agricultural industries, you in California, me in New York. The dairy farmers here in New York, the specialty of just hauling dairy it's fascinating talking to some of them. And I know yogurt upstate, there's a Chobani plant that's one of the big it's one of the big employers up there. So I'm somewhat familiar with ag, but I know them just through trucking. That's the relationship right there. And they're very specialized trucks and trailers and materials.
Right. So, when you're a farmer, you start out, you're doing a lot of things manually. You're planting your own seeds, you're harvesting your own crops. And just like any business, you try and grow, because farming, even though it's a livelihood, as most people understand it, it is a business. So you start doing things manually, you grow your business, you hire some farm hands, maybe get some equipment in there. But then you start to realize that Joe Schmo trucking is, that you're hiring out, that you could be capturing that revenue. And honestly, it's quite lucrative. So I'm seeing a lot of farmers taking that next step, especially when they see, COVID, some farmers it helped, some farmers it didn't, right? But seeing that economic sensitivity that trucking can withstand, it has been attractive for farmers. Like, oh, trucking will survive through a pandemic like this, therefore I should get in on that.
How typically, how's the credit you see for some of these small farmers that are looking to sort of branch out and take control of their transportation of their assets? How's their credit generally?
Credit generally is pretty good. Farmers in general have good credit. I think if I looked at data from the people that apply with us, they're on the higher end of the spectrum. One useful thing that I think people watching this should know, especially farmers, if they have that time in business as a farmer and that business entity set up, they can get around a lot of the hairy things that can come up from being a startup trucker. Like, I have this established business to draw off of, therefore I probably deserve higher tier rates when I do make that transition over.
It's so interesting. I do have to ask, just because I'm curious, and you are in California, I am here in New York. Have any pot farmers reached out to you and your company? Is that a field that you're even able to finance? Well, what are the regulations on that?
Yeah, it's an interesting, that's a whole another topic, but I'm happy to dive into it. Cannabis in general is, still the what's it called, the gold rush,
right?
Some lenders are moving on it, making a ton of money. Some lenders are more conservative, kind of want to see what develops from the people that are taking that plunge. But in general, especially in the states that are starting to allow it, lenders are getting more comfortable with it. We've had in California, it's still a little iffy, even though it is starting to legalize and all that. We've had somebody go ask us for generators for their cannabis plant. That was a big one for us. We've had what's it called? Somebody tried to cannabis is a terms that I don't do any of that stuff. So.
Disclaimer: this is a pot-free podcast.
Yeah. But like the mother pods and all that stuff, they've tried to finance that, and it is becoming a very large vertical for finance companies across the nation.
It really is like the next fascinating frontier, and that's why. And again, it's farming, trucking, transportation, small business. It all intersects, in this new industry coming. I also think that one of the things with the pandemic that there's been a lot of conversations on is Americans' general health. And part of that is what we put in our bodies. And I think there's been a sort of resurgence in interest in, I don't know if it's still called farm to table or locally sourced. Have you seen an increase in farmers either looking to expand that way or people looking to buy smaller plots of land to sort of farm locally?
Mm-hmm. So in California, just the general mindset is progressive. So they like the story of farm to table, knowing where this was grown, knowing it was locally sourced, or if it's poultry or something like that, they want to know that the chickens are taken care of, the pigs, like all that good stuff. So we have seen a lot of that locally. In general, from a farming standpoint, it kind of depends on the farmer. Some people are just, they live, they breathe, they bleed green. They love to get their hands green. So, from a farming standpoint, once you pass a certain point, your next step is to either acquire another plot of land or figure out how to increase your the volume that you're producing or some things like that. So in general, especially in California, that's not the case. Land is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
As you can imagine, I think everybody knows that California is very expensive. So in areas like that, people are looking to maximize their current plot of land, and that's typically when they turn to trucking to gain that additional income.
I love it. And you guys are pretty flexible with your financing too, right? Which makes you one of the more attractive lenders out there for small businesses and, small businesses looking to expand a little bit.
Yeah. So we don't look at everything cookie cutter, but we do have tranches. So on the trucking tranche, we have programs that fit every aspect of a trucker that could come through, from first time buyer through fleets of 100 or even more. On the equipment side, and I'll lump agriculture into there relatively, again, just starting out all the way through an established farm that has, John Deere's all over the place, programs for them. So we do what we pride ourselves on is anybody that comes into our door and talks to us, we have a fair program available for them. And if we don't, then we're straight up with them. Hey, like this isn't the right fit for us. But in that instance, we are confident that whatever offer we're giving them is market tested.
Someone wants to get in touch with you. Someone wants to apply with TrueCore. How would they go about doing that?
So a few things. One, you can call us. Our number's on our website, TrueCoreCapital.com. There's an online application on there. If you're not 100% confident, filling out that application, you could just fill out a little contact form. We have a very, very strong sales team behind us and lender team that knows exactly, your industry, all that good stuff. So they can walk you through the nuts and bolts of it.
Outstanding. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us today. We'll have you on again really soon, talking about some of these other branch intersections of finance and transportation. I like it. I like that topic.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate you having me and looking forward to doing it again.
If you like what you see, you want to know more about trucking, transportation, finance, all that good stuff, please make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on stream.